Hi everyone, Rue here. We're in Corel Painter. Very basic setup at the moment. Nothing major. Just got my brushes up at the left. I might bring some of those down onto the canvas and find it difficult. I'm using a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro from back in 2019. I only got it recently, but it's 5 years old at this point. Open a simple canvas, a single canvas texture. I mostly use the thick paint brushes. I've got a series of those that I've made. Might share them with you at some point, but I hope you enjoy them. They're great to use. Yeah, but I have a very simple setup. Yeah, and if you didn't know this, you probably have known from probably one of my first videos of me sort of introducing myself and giving you an idea of who I am. And if you follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn or anywhere else, you know me from anywhere else. Excuse the noise. Sorry about that. If you know me from anywhere else, you'll know that I'm a fashion designer. And I wanted to go through a little bit of a process of how I do an illustration. Now, I may do this on here. If this goes horribly wrong, we'll leave it on here. You may never see this video, and if you do, you've hacked into my phone and managed to find it. Or I've posted it and I'm not meant to. Or I've posted it and I'm meant to. We'll do a speed painting on my iPad, because I normally use my iPad. By the way, I'll also move something on the screen, bit of touch controls. Running smoother than usual, which is nice. But a bit of touch control going on. I'll run through a bit of my process, but I usually use my M1 iPad Pro to do my sketches on. Well, my illustrations, my sketches, whatever you want to call them, designs. I interchange what I call them based on the fact of describing it to different people, but in essence, they're designs. They're just well rendered designs. I'm sure if you're in the field of design, you understand when something crosses from a simple design into an illustration and then crosses over into a simple sketch. Yeah, I'm working backwards here, but that tends to be the case. That can be the case in many different fields. But yeah, I do most of my work digitally now. I used to work a lot in pen, marker, sometimes oils, because I'm classically trained in oils. So when I use a software like this, I tend to use oil emulating brushes. I like Corel because of the effect with thick paint. I feel that it has a very lush and unique, and I think it's a step forward for actually emulating natural media oils. It's very impasto, and not impasto, but very detailed style of realism when it comes to making a real brush stroke. The effect is an exquisite effect, so I gravitate towards it. And my last computer didn't work at all on it, so I had to not use it, which was a heartbreak. This one, it works. It doesn't work perfectly, but it works. So yeah. What I'll do is I'll run through a few of the settings with you just to get you accustomed to the program. In future, if you don't want me to do that, I'll do another video with me just literally getting on with the painting, and I'll be talking because that's part of who I am. But if it's a big demand for just a speed painting, I'll do one of those as well, because I'm more than happy to. But I just thought that some people will be happy with me sharing the process and they can learn a few things, because there's so much you can do with some of these painting softwares. They're fantastic. Excuse me a second, I'm drinking hot chocolate. It's quite cold, we're in November, so I know I'm drinking coffee at this point, but I'm drinking hot chocolate. So yeah, this is Corel, this is setup, this is the basic default setup at the moment. Got my cursor going on. So at the moment, if I go to my brushes, I have It's my brushes 2023. This is my last year's brushes, right down at the bottom. And I have a number of brushes that, if you can actually see at the top, anybody who knows this name, I don't need to pronounce it, but this name begins with an S. Let me know, because I'm a fan of his. He is a incredible artist. I managed to, the brushes he used while doing his work were very inspiring to me, and I knew I needed to create some form of, emulate them in some way, because they were based off just the simple brushes from back in 2017, 2015 in Corel, and I managed to find them through hunting through nearly every version of Corel, or hunting through the versions of Corel I owned, and I just modified them and got my own ones, but I managed to find his that he used and got the exact same effect with it. But of course you have to, if you want to get the exact same effect of a person's artistic style, you'll have to emulate how they actually paint as well, because it's not just simply, if you get a brush, your art will look like somebody else's art. It doesn't work like that. And I don't think, in a way, modern art is about emulation, but it's also, you've got to be unique. So yeah, you've got to actually have your own flavors to things. Yeah. Just 1 second. Hi, I'm back. Sorry about that. I just needed to move the chair. So as I was saying, we'll move on from that. But main thing I want to focus on today is basically not a quick, but a kind of together illustration. I'm not feeling in a super creative mood. Nothing is sparked that I need to draw or I need to paint design-wise. So an idea hasn't come to me, and I think it's going to be more of an illustration. So what I'm going to do is go through with you my process of, today we'll do that. We'll go through the figure, because I've already drawn the figure, but I'm going to draw it again for you. I'll show you the figure I've drawn, but we'll redraw it. And then we'll go through some of the newest collections, saying what I think, what I feel, from different perspectives, and then we'll have a look at what we can actually do in terms of popping a design or a few designs on the canvas. So it's not a design piece I'm doing today, it's an illustration piece. That may change in the future, that will change in the future, but an Australasian, I can't say the word, I think you know what I mean. So let's start off by getting the figure that I've got. Wants me to open a new compatible layer of thick paint. I'll show you the brushes I've got first, in fact. So I'll just zoom in a bit. I've got a really vibrant red. The main brushes I've got in my brush category. I'll do that in another video. But the ones that I'll probably be using the most today, I'll dot around, but it'll be the soft white. What the size? Soft white. You see how it trails. And it's got texture to it. Maybe the blue will show a bit more shadow. But it's a soft. And then when I run it through that, it blends quite well. So it's blending into purple. It's doing really well. I apologise about the speed, but it looks fantastic. And a thick, stiff, flat, stiffer. That's one I've done. I've got a stiff one and a stiffer one, and that is basically changes with size. That has a tendency to blend and mix, but create a stroke of, strong undertones of the colour underneath. Sorry about that, guys. Just got sidetracked. So yeah, this is the thick, stiff, flat, stiffer. From here down, from the clumpy brush downwards till it's all the way. So we hit the erasers and the pencil are all thick paintbrushes. This is pressure sensitive. If I press lightly it does this, when I press hard it does this. I apologise for the delay on the brush, but as you can see you can get the effect. And it's blending technique. See the colour disperse. Like I was saying, the brush blends really well. You see, we create these orange tones, and you can see the build-up effect. I'll zoom in because I've got the brush quite small. It's a detail canvas. You've got strong stroke appeal, a really strong stroke appeal. There's slight gapping, however that's not as noticeable when you zoom out because it's quite a big canvas. Even at that size, you can just see it. That's the whole point. And it blends with this very naturalistic, almost like broken brush stroke. So it shows the undercolour very well. Well, actually naturally blending. It's a great brush. And then I've got the dry, stiff bristle brush. So I worked on all of these. A few of them are based on the natural brushes that you got in the most recent versions of Corel. This is basically a continuation of the grain. However, when you layer it upon a colour, it has an opaque effect and sits itself on the colour. It's great for placing a lot of colour in an area, but it's also great for blending. Your initial strokes, because obviously Corel Painter knows the larger your brush, and given the paint load is set to 20, so if I push the paint load up, if I push it to say 70, then there you go, you've got more paint on your brush. But it knows the paint load given the size of the brush, with the same paint load, if it's low, will only actually create strokes that are smaller. It's natural physics. So then if I make this brush really small, then the paint load will last longer. And if I press lighter, it'll have more of a blending effect. But it's got more of an opaque effect. And then if I zoom in, you can see it has natural brush strokes within it, but it has a tendency to show the grain. And that's what I like about it so much. If I just reset it. Set it to about 30. Yeah, about 30. There you go, you've got this bristly but kind of thin brush that blend but has an opaqueness and stops itself. It still creates this really strong texture. Yeah, it loses the edge. That's a fantastic effect, and you could add different things to that. Use it in a place here, use it in a place there. Some people see it as actually using it as, because it looks like something. There's artists that use it because it looks like, say, a mountain or something like that, and it's a very strange thing to me. That it's very strange that somebody would do that, because that, you know, when you're painting something, you're painting it. You don't have a brush that creates the thing you're painting. You've got to put in the light, the shadow, the texture. You can have a brush that puts in texture, the randomness, and a brush that accidentally allows you to create the light that you're creating. But I wouldn't say in whole, just having a brush and having it multicoloured and then saying, well, because it's multicoloured in a brown, at the moment it's pink, but if it's in brown and its edge and it has rickety edges, then it's the corners of a cliff. It's just never, no, it doesn't quite work like that for me. I've got to put the hard work in. Yeah, so that's the mess I've made on the canvas so far. Yeah. What I'm going to pull up now is, I'm just going to get rid of this. Get rid of this, and I'm going to open. I can't do something with the computer. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Right, hi guys. So we're back. This time I've got up a image. This on the right is a figure drawing I've done. I was inspired by a certain pose. I'll make it a little bit bigger for you so it's easier for you to see. I'll put it in the center. Gives you, whoops, the corners. Zoom in a bit. So this is the reference image, the top of it. So in photo 4, pull it up again. Yeah. So yeah, it started with gestures. Obviously the gesture lines around her groin, hips, and around her waist and shoulder. And then her face comes across, arms. I'll zoom in, pan around a little bit. There's certain construction lines around the arm, and the centre, and the breast, and down the underbody. One thing that you need to focus on, I think, it's quick advice for others doing figure drawing, especially in fashion, is getting the proportions for the body, the torso and legs correct, and you need to get the gesture correct. I'll show you what I mean by gesture. So basically, you'd start with a simple, I'll get my HP brush. I'll get the HP brush. I'll set it to black, have a look, how big is it? Yeah, I'll work on the side, the shading. Still pretty thin, but if I go to advanced, it should already be set up. But yeah. Which form is calibration? Transition, spacing, angle, bearing. Yeah. So yeah, I should go again. It's not giving me a strong shade. Anyway, figure out slow time. Don't want to start doing that. But what we need to do is figure out proportion. Now you can eye it, or you can go with that 9 head thing, where it's say that's the size of the head. Just make it a little bit taller to just give it more shape, and then you go and draw out loosely. This is 9 of those. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That maybe even 10. What I've done. Some of this is by eye, because I can do it organically. I just don't know the gist of it, but people do this, with heads and base on scale. So yeah, is that. I'll just move this to the centre to get a better idea. And then we go halfway, and then halfway down, and that's where the neck will end. And what we need to do is figure out the position of the shoulders. In this case, they're quite straight, but there's an upward to the right. If you're facing the screen, it's an upward which is to the side, and her right shoulder, well, her left shoulder, which when we're looking at her from our right, is slightly raised. So you need to put a gesture line like this, and then you look at this area, and then you would half this, and then you would half this again, and that would be the bust line. And again, it generally follows the direction of the shoulders. So there would be the direction of the shoulders. And then again, we're just marking things in. The waist itself would either be 2 heads or one head and a half. So 2 heads or 2 heads and a half, depending on your style. How long you like your bodies to be. I preferably would just go with 2 heads. You could just increase even the breast line up to there, but I preferably like to go with the 2 heads and a half, and that would be the roundabout of the waist. And I say that it could be just below the waistband, so you could half that again and put that point as your natural waist, and that adds that flare. But that's pointing in a different direction. The shoulders are going up like this. Excuse me. and the waist is in a separate direction. Excuse the noise. The waist is in a separate direction. So you're basically creating a perspective. You create a perspective. You need to remember how tall she is, so what elements you'll see above. You could put a visible horizon line. You know, if you look at those directions, you can create from that. If we just push those together and we go off our screen, you can enlarge it, the screen, the canvas. I won't do now, but you could create a visible horizon line, and then it would probably go across here, like that. I don't know where the bust is, but then you know the top half of this, you know, our arm will come down here, like that. Her other arm is hidden, it sits around about her waist, there, and juts out. So you know that that part of the body is almost you're looking up at it, because this is a very grand, figure. It's a very grand stature. You wouldn't put the horizon line down here unless you were doing a certain shoot photo, and her shoulders would probably be diagonal like that, and her arm coming down like that, and it'd be hidden, and her arm coming out like that. Because then it's very dynamic way of viewing it. It's a really strong pose, but it would work. But you want that to it slightly, because it adds a lot of character to it. So yeah, just remember that. But yeah, and then we'll move to the crotch, which is just basically 1, 2, 3, 4 heads down. There's your crotch. And then we think of the knee. We'll go 2 heads down as the knee. We think of the calf. To finish with the calf, I would say, and I always do this, and I agree with people who do, but 2 heads, and then half is where you finish the leg, and then the foot is usually the half of the head left, but I always go over a bit, so I want the legs to always be longer. So I would either say, start the foot there, the half point, or start the foot at the end point. So you've got a complete reference of how to build the figure from there. When you think in terms of shape, I'll just clean this up a little bit. Give me a second. When you think in terms of shape, it's not working. When you think in terms of shape, the wrong one? Yeah. If you think in terms of shape,
Sunday.
there's like a general idea. We'll get rid of the horizon line. I think in terms of shape. So, what I'm talking about is breaking things down. I've broken down the breasts to the square. They're effective. You've got the point-to-point nipple. You've got the front part. You know how to drape the clothing over it. You know how to, mold from there. It's a very simple but effective way of doing it. And you've got the shoulder, which again adds character. Drawing a certain shoulder in your piece, I'll zoom in on the shoulder. When you draw a certain type of shoulder within your drawing, it adds a very strong nature to the figure. Not only does it give an idea of weight, not only does it give an idea of stature and poise, because the way you hold your shoulders is a very important thing. It's like a facial expression, and that, as well as the way you hold the rest of your body. But I've got to admit, when you're drawing shoulders, especially on a fashion figure, the hips, the shoulders, and the shape of the legs, the size of the waist, less so than the size of the breast, because that seems to be irrelevant. It's irrelevant very much of the time, the size of the breast when you're drawing fashion, unless you are, marketing or figuring towards a certain crowd or style. It's kind of irrelevant what the breast looks like. But the shoulder, and keeping the face simple. Very important things. We're getting the gesture of the drawing. That's what needs to really happen. Because to be honest with you, without having a gesture, as you can tell, this has got a strong gesture. It's got this curve, and the legs follow. There's balance, and there's not only balance in the sense of her physically balancing. There's balance in the composition of her arm and her arm here. But yet it works because it's very quick. So yeah, we're going to try and recreate that. That is basically a recreation from an inspiration I had from another artist. So yeah, I'm going to go through a process of drawing it. I may not finish it, or I may finish it. The hope is to finish it and then dress it in a illustration instead of a design itself. We'll see how we go. I'll obviously be talking the whole way through, so enjoy that if you wish. Tell me down in the comments what your favourite software is for painting. Either on PC or Mac. Because I've used the iPad for such a long time now to do my work that I've kind of lost touch with. I've put it on the wrong layer. I paint over it. Let me just get move past that. Use a glazing filbert. Let's go around the end layer. Cool. And just see what this is like. See what the thick bristles like. Just something more. Just need an airbrush there. Sorry, I'm just getting rid of the lines. So we have a clean canvas. What I'll do is I'll just get a new one. Probably best. Yeah, there we go. So I've got our clean canvas. One thing I always say, I'll add another canvas now. These are the settings for the canvas I've got. I've got a 15 width, 24 height, and a 300 pixel per inch setting. I always pick my canvas colour as a very traditional colour of this kind of sepia toned colour, because it's an old master's way of painting. Excuse me for a second. It's an old master's way of painting. Sorry, I had to grab something. It's an old master's way of painting. So you have a dyed canvas, and it tricks the brain into not feeling as intimidated as a white canvas. So if you're ever feeling intimidated or uninspired or feeling like you can't do something, or you find that your skills are lacking again, or you've not got confidence in them, just try this toned canvas. Preferably something with a little bit of texture as well, because the physical aspect of art is that the physical aspect, and just being able to have it is really, really useful. So I'm going to start with a bit of a gesture. So let's start with the direction of the head. Goes there, neck in. And then we want to start with putting the shoulders in. Thinking about the shape of wanting to resize this. Quite large. And then down here, get that leg going out. It's going to need to be resized. And then this leg going down. do is I'll get this. Get this. And hopefully I'll be able to resize it. Transform. I'm kind of thinking more in line with for an average individual. I need some thinking like that. Just resize this. Give me a second. Seem to have not been. Oh, there we go. I've got the settings, yeah. Slide out a little bit too big then. So just resize that real quick. Yeah, I can find it. Right, let's get this. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I'm going to add at the back, just because I'm pure fact it curves like this. It doesn't curve that much, it curves all the way here. Side goes around like this. Bit of shoulder action. Waist is, it juts as well. So we need to think about that. Let's give her a waistband. We'll bring this down here, just slim. And down. Just, I always start by copying the edge of the brass. Just to give it shape. Set a line there. The center line. Always fix them. Define the shoulder, just relax it a bit. Because this is a pass through. What I tend to do is working like levels of pass through. I need to get off that idea of working pass through. It's not very professional. It depends what you're doing. I would say, as a general rule of thumb, try not to be as sketchy as I am at the moment. In the long run, it doesn't even no good. It has to be definitely the lines. Flares in them. Yeah, I look like I'm not even drawing my own drawing, is that bad? So what we can do with this, because I don't know where I've gone with this or how this has turned out so bad, is try and retrieve it. Because this is now become a retrieval video of trying to find out why on God's earth. So everyone does go through, but obviously I'm just suddenly going through it since we're going through a lot now. Skill loss, well yes, no skill loss, but this idea of style and my skill level just going out the window. So what we're going to do, we're going to figure out everything that's gone wrong with that, because it's not even resembling my actual style of painting or drawing. Very strange. But I'm not drawing it, I'm sad drawing it, so I don't know what that's about. What that's about. This is tuck. Yeah. And then what we can do from here, the hand's fine. You can leave bits like that, it's my personal style, but what I would say is leave certain areas like that just in these, you know, a little flair. Adds interest. It's kind of, you need strong elements within a piece. You need to be able to capture people. Probably give her a bit of fibre because of me. This side is a little bit too big. That's fine. It's a bit of a little beast. So quickly pull that in. Oh, some symmetry somewhere. What's that? It's not bad. Have I triggered this symmetry zone? That's not triggered the symmetry zone. Let me figure out, I don't know, it's just windowed itself. Sorry about this, guys. We're having some technical problems. Mirror painting. So why is it something onto mirror painting? I'm just gonna align down the centre of it. Just moving around, that's all. Let's just quickly save this. So yeah, I'll be back in a second. Right, hi everyone, I'm back. I'll just drop the opacity on this. And then add a new layer. What we can do is figure out, this pen is really, it's too big, it's too small, sorry. It needs to be around 60. Just make it a bit, pull that down there. Up in the waist, make the waist a little bit smaller. Then again. Just erase that part. It's always good, and I think it's, every designer or artist needs it, to have quite a few templates. Now you can get them online, obviously, but the only thing is, you've got to have your own certain style. You've got to have your own certain look to the figure. It's got to look a certain way, it's got to present itself a certain way, and it's got to, finish off the clothing a certain way. There's a flair, it's like having a certain model. Obviously you can change it with time and things will change. If your design style changes, then your need for a certain look figure-wise will change, and if it's plus size it's going to be different. But the gist is, get yourself a way being able to replicate the same physique for all stances. When you've thought of the stance, you can get that from anywhere, any inspiration. You can get inspiration from anywhere with it. Magazines, just in your head. Then you've got a visual library of different things. It becomes ingrained in you. You'll pull from it and you'll be able to. Thumb is a bit small. You'll be able to pull from it and. Okay. You'll be able to pull from it and figure out exactly what and how. And, even where, if you do backgrounds, it's going to look like, or she or he is going to look like. You have to think in terms of how can I best present the clothes, because that's what the inspirations come from. That's where you've got the idea from. That's where you've got the idea from. Then that should drive, the figure you've got to put the clothes on. She's got a very short waist. What I'm going to do, when I've finished, I don't know why now she's got such a short waist. But when I'm finished, I'm going to transform it. It's the beauty of the digital medium. I would work a little bit differently if it was traditional. Because obviously you can't erase the same. And you certainly can't transform. But you can have a little bit more control over your lines. Over your style of leg from model. honestly. Nothing wrong with that. Bring it in a little bit more. The design kit. So brace that out. And bring that out. And bring out the foot, and I think she can wear stilettos. Or an ankle. And remember, I actually studied every bone, muscle in the human body. And I'm trying to just gesture them in, because all you can do from there is going down. Feet are too big. Too big at the top and kind of flat. Yeah, they work. Yeah, there's something not right about this. I'd say it's something of, it's not quite there. Not quite there at all. Just lasso this and transform it. There's certain elements that are alright, so it's just simple figure. I'm just some ways doing this, but yeah. There you go. Hey ho. Just needed that. I needed this. Yeah, that's better. Yes. Let's fix away. Let's clean this up. Yeah. This video will be in a few parts. Let's try back in the hand. Video will be in a few parts. So making sure. I think it's gonna have to go through the cleanup pass through. But just making sure that I've got. It's not got so tall. Making sure I've got the essence of it correct. Let's zoom out on that. The idea is that she's not got nearly as much attitude as my original. Because I drew the one on the right and I've drawn the one on the left. I'm using a different device to, you do it, so that may play into it. I've not used a Cintiq in a long time. I normally use my iPad, so that's probably part of the reason why. Which is disappointing itself. You would have thought it'd be easier. There's things that can be done. I can do it from a distance. There's things that can be done. And what I'll do is I'll just chip away at it, but it's better, as artists we know, we all know that it's better to be able to get something right on the first pass through and not be fiddling around with the under details too much. They're often a bit arbitrary. Unless you have them visible, I have them visible in my work quite often in certain places. Just adds quite a bit of flair. Yeah. It's not fully captured here. So what I'll do is I'll make the next video in this series of this illustration to fix this up a little bit more and get it going. We might even do another figure just to give us some sort of choice, so we can think about whether we go for this one or that one, or we go for both of them at the same time, and then go from there and figure out how we're going to dress them. But it works. It works. it's the main part. It works. It functions. Okay. So what I want to take from it is obviously the 9-head rule, the use of, instead of, I've sat and drawn breasts for hours, I'm not gonna lie, weird thing to do, but obviously when you are doing a very realistic figure, you drawing the breast, but I would say just make a indication of the breast and volume lines. And hip, around the hips and waist, you've got the lower hip, and you've got the waist, and you've got the, above hip, you've got these, especially in drawing, you have to think of it like lower, higher hip and waist. So remember to indicate them at all points. Dependent upon, the style of, if it's an extreme pose, sometimes they get distorted, but they are always there, and use them as guides. Use them as guides especially for the size of the torso. That's the main reason for these guides. It adds the indications for the size of the torso, placement of certain objects, and placement for your designs to go on. And that's why I've done, styles of figures like this, because it's, as utilitarian value. But I'll leave it there today. I hope you're good. I'll see you all later. Well, I'll speak to you all later. Leave in the comments whatever you're thinking or want me to do. Any drawings, any paintings, any links that you've got that you want to share with me. Go ahead and message me or just let me know about them. I'm more than happy to have a quick look. Yeah, and have a good day and goodbye. Alright then, I'll leave you with this on the screen, and just a quick thought.